Hey everybody, Amy Shadow Dragon 1 here. Welcome to Geocache Adventures. I know it's been a while since any episodes have been posted. Let me catch you up on what's been going on. Everybody's good, everybody's healthy. 2025 got a little crazy. I was dealing with some burnout and was trying to sort out what to do with the podcast. And of course, life happens. Our oldest dog, he tore an ACL. And I don't know if you have had a dog tear an ACL, but they fix it a lot differently than they do for humans. They have found out with studies that a regular ACL attachment for dogs ends up with less mobility. So, what they end up doing is called a TPLO surgery, and it's really interesting and really invasive. So, what they basically do is they put a plate over where the dog's joint is for the knee joint, and then they go lower and they cut the bone and basically recreate like a new knee joint for them. And their studies have shown that they pretty much get full mobility back with this, but it's a really hard recovery time. So after I took a break from the podcast and was trying to get back into it, this happened. And the poor guy, it's a long recovery, and he did great. And he's back in action. He's been back for a while, but it is at least a 3-month recovery. And he's a bit older, so it took a bit longer. And for the better part of a while, he has to be in a crate and needs a lot of extra care. So that was taking up a lot of extra time. And then when that finally started to settle down, my job enforced mandatory overtime. So for the last couple of months, it's been really difficult to do anything outside of our normal extra activities of work and school and my son's activities and our normal church activities and everything that we're normally involved in. And it's been really hard to sit down and try to record anything, or let alone set up interviews with people. So a lot of you may have heard me on Cash Like a Girl recently. And the idea was I would do a once a month, do like a longer interview format, and then once a month do like a shorter format. That is still hopefully the goal, but that may be a while before I can get to that, because it's probably going to be a few more months of mandatory overtime for me. And it's just going to make it hard to schedule recordings. So we're going to make it work. There'll be content out there, and this will give me an opportunity to explore some of these shorter topics that we don't really have the ability to do a longer format on. And that's what we're going to do today. So there will be some interviews sprinkled in when I can get them, but it's going to be a little bit different for a while. So bear with me, y'all. A couple other changes. The website is now gone. It was just too much to try to keep up with all this. So the website is gone, and the Patreon is gone. And while I'm very grateful to those who were Patreon supporters, it was just too much for me to keep up with everything. So I am very grateful that you were all Patreon supporters, to those who were, but it was just way too much for me to handle with everything else going on. So maybe one day that'll all come back. But for now, you can still get in touch over Facebook and Instagram at Geocache Adventures, or you can reach out over the email address geocache.adventures.podcast@gmail.com. So it is New Year's. Happy New Year's to everybody, and we are back with the podcast, and I'm going to talk to you today about games within the game of geocaching. So there are different things, and we've talked about some of these before on the podcast, but I'm going to talk about a few more of them. And a lot of them are challenges that you can do just to challenge yourself. Some of these do feed into challenge caches. Whether you want to do the challenge caches or not, that's up to you, but that is an option. So let's talk about challenge caches first off. We've talked about this before at season 3, episode 1 with Cache the Line. And a challenge cache is similar to a traditional cache, but it has additional logging requirements. And you identify them by the name. It'll show up as a puzzle cache on the map, and the name is required to have the word challenge in them. And as of September of 2020, there is now a cache attribute for challenge caches. So anything published September 2020 and forward should have that attribute. Some people may have gone back and retroactively added that attribute to existing challenge caches, but the name says it all. So if you're not sure if it's a challenge cache or not, the name will say challenge. These caches will typically have a challenge checker. It is a requirement for one to be published as of April 21st of 2015. Anything prior to that may not have a checker. A lot of these checkers are created at Project GC, and there'll be a link in the cache page that you can go to, and it'll tell you if you qualify for it or not. And if you qualify for it, you can claim the cache. If not, you can always sign the container at the physical location and put a note saying that you've signed the log, and you'll claim it once you've qualified for it. That's actually encouraged a lot. The challenges can be tried by all kinds of things. Requirements of different attributes that you found, types of caches you found, numbers of caches, different numbers of states, counties, all kinds of things. One example is there's an abandoned structures challenge that requires you to have found 10 geocaches with the abandoned structures attributes. So that's an example of one. As I said before, you can sign the physical log, but you can't claim it online until you meet the requirement. If you do like to do that, I recommend you can use the list function and create a list of the caches, the challenge caches that you have signed the log on but not met the requirements yet. And then you have that easy way to flip back and find the ones that you did sign once you meet the requirements. And as I said, we talked about challenge caches much more in depth back in season 3, episode 1 with Cache the Line. So I recommend you go back and check out that episode if you want to know more about that one. Another challenge or game within the game is the Jasmer challenge. And again, there are some challenge caches that require you to complete the Jasmer. So you can complete it to meet a challenge cache, or you can just complete it because it's something you can do to challenge yourself. If you're not familiar with it, is the challenge of where you find one geocache that has been placed in every month of every year since geocaching began in May of 2000. As of January 2026 now, that is 307 months that you would have to fill in to complete the Jasmer. So if you're newer to geocaching, it's going to be a lot more challenging because a lot of those older months are going to be a lot harder to find now. We talked about the Jasmer challenge and its creation back in season 5, episode 5 with the creator Jasmer B. So I recommend you go and listen to that if you're interested in hearing how that all came about. There's also the double Jasmer challenge where it's completing it twice with different caches. So that's 2 in each month, which would be 614 now as of January 2026. So good luck to you all on that one. So you may be wondering how you can find the geocaches that you need for these months. And there's an easy way to do it. If you go to geocaching.com and use the search filters, you can search for caches placed during specific months, day range, and specific year. So you can search all the way back to May of 2000 and search between May 1st and May 31st and see what still exists out there to help you fill your grid. Another challenge is the fizzy grid. So your fizzy grid is the grid that shows all of your difficulty and terrain combinations. You have the difficulty range from 1 to 5, and the terrain combinations of 1 to 5 as well. So there is 81 total combinations of difficulty and terrain, and the Fizzy Grid Challenge is just to find one geocache of each of those combinations. Now, you can search for ones that you need using the geocaching.com website search filters, and you can search specifically by DT combinations. You can also go to your stats page, and it'll show you your Fizzy Grid and what you have found of each combination type. And the ones where you maybe have a 0 in, you can click on that box and you have options to show you caches in your area to help you complete that combination. You can also do the double Fizzy Grid Challenge, which is just completing it twice. And I'm sure you could also do triple and quadruple, however you want to take that. Then we have the Attribute Challenge. Now, the Attribute Challenge is where you find every single attribute possible. So finding enough caches with enough combinations that you have found at least one cache with each attribute. There are 70 different attributes available, and these have positive and negative on a lot of them. 41 of them have a negative state. So an example would be you have the attribute shown on the cache page and that's crossed out, like no dogs allowed, not recommended for children. So that gives you a possible total of 111 attributes as of this recording. So you can actually filter by cache attributes on the website. You can do it some in the app, but you're limited as to which attributes you can filter by. And it is a premium feature as well. So you should note that. So if you have a free account, you're not going to be able to filter by that in the app. But you can also see what attributes you have logged on geocaches that you have found by going to Project GC and going to Profile and Profile Stats, and it'll show you the ones that you have found. So that'll help you track which ones you have and which ones you need. You can get a complete list of all attributes at geocaching.com. So you can use that and Project GC page to filter out the ones that you don't have yet. Another common game within the game is counting states. It's just trying to get all the states in your area. In the US here, that'd be 50 states. Each country has their own state province version for counting states and counting counties, which we have a lot of people that love to count counties and get every county within their state. And you can use the geocaching website to show you what states and countries you have found caches in, for the US at least. I'm not sure if you're located in other countries. At least from what I can see on my stats, it does not break down other countries by their states or provinces. I'm not sure if you're in a different state or in a different country, if that's different for what you can see or not. I don't know. If you do know, I'd love to hear from that. So you can reach out and tell me. That'd be great for my knowledge. But you can track counties that you've logged on geocaches and states as well by using pocket queries. That'll help you create paths for counting counties. And you can use Project GC or mygeocachingprofile.com to help you with this as well. And then sometimes the third-party apps like Cachely and GeoGo will generate county maps for you from your logs, so you can see what counties you need from a specific state if you're counting. We talked about extreme counting with Mag Planner in Season 5, Episode 16, where he got all 48 continental states and all their counties. So you can go back and listen to that if you want to hear his story. Another common game within the game is finding the oldest active in each state or country or equivalent for wherever you're at. There's a list of the oldest active in each U.S. state on geocachercompass.com, so you can go there and see. When I looked at it, it seemed to be fairly accurate and up to date. Another classic game within the game that a lot of people love to do is streaks. And that is simply just a number of consecutive days you have found a cache in. So some people just try to do it to see what they can do for their longest streak. Some people will try to do it as a year streak challenge. It's as simple as that, just how many days in a row you find a geocache. And you can track that on your profile stats at geocaching.com. It'll show you your longest streak and your current streak. They may not be the same, depending on what you're doing. And then another, and the final one we're going to talk about today is the 365-366 challenge. So the 365 challenge is just finding a geocache of every day of the year, and 366 is the same thing, but you include leap year in it. And you can do this as a streak, as I said earlier, or you can just try to find one on every single day. And if you look at your stat page again on geocaching.com, it'll show you not as a streak, but in general, it'll have a grid. It'll have the day of the year, and it's not per year, it's just in general. So it'll show you, hey, you have logged a geocache on May 5th this many times since you've been geocaching, but you have not logged one on May 6th. So you could look at that and then plan your upcoming geocaching year or month based on filling in that grid. So that is a lot of the popular games within the game that you can do, and a lot of these do actually filter back into completing challenge caches. So whether you want to do challenge caches or not, these are things that you can do and work on just to have fun yourself, and then maybe if you find a challenge cache later that has one of these that you've completed, then you can sign it because you qualify for it. One place that you can look for more information on geocaching challenges and games within the game is there is a book, and I have it and I enjoy it. It's actually called Geocaching Challenges, the Game Within the Game, and it is by Memphius Mafia, who some of you may have heard of, and it's available on Amazon if you're interested. I've read it. I enjoyed it. I pulled a lot of the commonly used games within the game from this book while I was doing my research on that. So, if you're interested, you can check it out. If you've read it, let me know what you think about it. So that's all I have for you for this episode. If you want to support the podcast, please like and review on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Share it with a friend. It helps get word out there, helps the audience grow. Thank you guys so much for listening, spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed the episode. See you later.